I'm George Pinner and I'm the England and Great Britain men's hockey goalkeeper. I'm 32 at the moment and I've been a Town fan as long as I can remember. It wasn't really a choice, to be honest. My granddad had been a season ticket holder for years and had some close connections with the club. He actually was Bobby Robson's solicitor for a period of time, and they had Franz Tyson living opposite them. He had two daughters, so my mum was regularly taken to football, and I'm the oldest grandson, so as soon as I was born, I think he was just desperate to get me to Portman Road. So yeah, he had a big influence, and it was never a decision or a choice for me. It was, you are an Ipswich Town fan, and was from birth, really. The first Town game I ever went to, I actually can't remember the first game. The only bit I can remember about it was I had the Ipswich Town goalie shirt and some tracksuit bottoms on. And I remember it must have been a cold day because Craig Forrest was wearing those in goal. And I remember being delighted that I actually had the same look as Craig Forrest going on. I can also remember Ipswich game against Norwich, when I believe we got given a second penalty that then got disallowed. But the one I can properly remember being at was when we were in the Premier League the first time. I think it was West Ham at home here at Portman Road. And I think Klaus Thompson scored either the equaliser or to put us ahead. And I think we drew that game 1-1. I went with one of my best mates at school. And yeah, that's the one match I can properly remember attending and really enjoying. Favourite Town player of all time, that is a really difficult one. I remember growing up, I actually preferred the central defenders to the centre forwards, which is probably a bit unusual. Mark Venus, used to love Venus and his free kicks. Mogger, Tony Mowbray, he was great. And then when we were in the Premier League, Haridason, I really liked him. But I think probably favourite's got to be Shefki Kichi. The goals he scored, the impact he had, and that swallow dive celebration, I really liked him. I really enjoyed playing football growing up. I wasn't that skillful, but I was a bit of a big lad, and I feel I could slightly relate to Shefki. But yeah, he was a legend. He's probably my favourite. Captain is a really difficult one. Growing up, it was Matt Holland for such a long, period of time, and I think he was fantastic. The way he led the team, especially looking back now how he conducted himself. But I think it probably is Chambers. I think the passion that he's got for the club, the fist pumps really say it all. And what you hear coming out of the dressing room, obviously playing a team sport myself, having a captain like that really does lead and will kind of walk through walls for you. Like, he seems to just never miss a game. You see him, casts on, all this and that. I think he is a proper captain, and we are very lucky to have him at the club. And yeah, a bit of a close one, but I'm going to give it to Chambo. I think we've had some fantastic managers at Ipswich Town. Unfortunately, I actually never saw, Bobby or South in the dugout. But I think what Bobby Robson achieved here, some of the players he brought, to Ipswich in England were fantastic, and also what he went on to achieve. So he probably is the greatest. In my time, it's quite close for different reasons, I think. I think Burley did a fantastic job, although we didn't get into the Premier League straight away. We played attacking, exciting football. I remember we used to love coming here Tuesday night, Saturday night. The way we played was brilliant, and that was super to watch. And then obviously that first season in the Premier League. I actually think Mick did do a really good job. I remember when we were down there and he first got appointed, and those first 2 years, yes, some of the football wasn't pretty, but I remember going to those away games and no one cared. What he did on a budget and what he did to turn the football club around. I know he's got a lot of grief, but I've got a lot of respect for him and what he did. But it's a close one, in my era. Burley probably shades it from him, but of all time, it's got to be Bobby. Greatest Town game ever. It's so close because obviously Wembley was just an amazing experience. Surreal as well, because we got there and I actually ended up sitting next to my old headmaster by coincidence. So when Russo actually scored that winning goal, I think I jumped up and my flag hit him in the nose or eye, nearly blinded the poor bloke. But that game was huge and so special. But I actually think the Bolton game, the game before, was the best one. I didn't go to Bolton away. We'd been to some of the playoff games in the past, but we went 2-0 down in that, come back to 2-2. I remember that game here at Portman Road, and you thought, is this the year? I think they just got rid of away goals, which had been Sheepshanks' decision or involvement in that, and you thought, oh no, is that going to cost us? And then that match here just had absolutely everything. And I'll always remember my mum at the time was translating for Manu Fati, and he was actually on the bench at the time. And I think it was when we got the second or third penalty after, I think Magilton had missed one in extra time. And the look he just turned up and gave us was like, oh no, what's going to happen next? And then I think it was Clapham scored that. And that was just an amazing game. You know, Richard Wright played brilliantly in that, and it had everything, especially given what had gone on the years before. And just I remember staying at the stadium for about an hour afterwards, and just that feeling, I think, just because of what had happened previously, just shades it on the Wembley day out. I think my top two are by the same player, and that's Rusa. He scored some absolute crackers. But my favourite one is that one at Wembley when he broke through, and as soon as that hit the net, you knew we were in the Premiership. That was so special. And even now at hockey, I go on the computers and I'm like, lads, this is a goal. And I just, even the commentary, I think it's Rusa Premiership, and even that sends, kind of pins and needles down you. That was so good. He scored some crackers, I think, in that run into the playoffs as well. But I think the importance of that goal, the way it was towards the back end of that game, been trying to get in the Premiership for years. We were leading in that match, but slightly hanging on, and it seemed like he carried the ball forever from the halfway line. And then actually you watch it back, and he took it really early. It was like outside the box, didn't try and go around the goalkeeper. That was an awesome day, and that is definitely my favourite ever goal. Favourite Ipswich Town shirt is a difficult one. It was pretty horrendous at the time, but that white into blue fade, made by Core as well. No disrespect to Core, but I don't know where that brand's been or came from. That kind of stands out. The first shirt I had was the lace-up Umbro one, so that is still a favourite. We then had some great away shirts like the cream, black, and red one. So there's a few in there, but the Wembley shirt is special. I've actually still got at home Manu Fati's one from the day with all the badges on. I just never dare wear it because it means quite a lot. But I think it is that white into blue fade, because it's just so out there, so different from any shirt we ever had. And it's the first shirt that I can actually remember kicking a football around in, playing with my mates, desperately waiting for it to be released at the club shop. The away shirt got released first, and Mum was like, you can only have one, but holding out for that probably not many people will give it a vote for how it looks, but I think for kind of the memories it brings back, I'm going to go for that one. Worst moment. Unfortunately, there's been a few not great ones, the last few years. It's not been as good as hoped. I actually went to Norwich for the second leg of the playoffs, losing there, and the way they celebrated afterwards, that was kind of horrible. But, by the time we got to the final whistle, we'd had Berra sent off, you kind of knew it possibly was coming. That was tough. But I think the lowest moment though was, and it's not one specific, but it's that series of playoff defeats before we went up. I remember coming to all those games here, and we always had the second leg at home because of where we'd finished. Sheffield United, we had some great games against. And I remember lying in bed after those games, they'd gone to extra time or whatnot. And my mum just I was really young and upset, don't worry, they'll try hard next year, it'll happen then. And that just happened for 3 or 4 seasons. And I just remember the anti-climax and that horrible feeling, because it's obviously the last game of the season as well. So you literally have all that hope. It's shattered, it disappears, you go to bed, and there's then nothing for 2 months. So I remember those being really sad kind of nights and evenings as Ipswich Town fan. Yeah, so most memorable moment, as I've kind of said, Wembley's just huge as a fan of that day, beating Bolton here, but probably it was actually being mascot. I think it was the season before we went up. We went on or maybe 2 before then, we went on a run where we just kept scoring 5 goals in every game. I think it was then that the Singing the Blues version got released. But I was mascot here for Ipswich versus Oxford, and that was such a cool experience as a kid. And I remember that game because not only did we win it by quite a few, but I'm pretty sure Richard Wright went off temporarily to get stitches. So Matt Holland actually had a brief spelling goal. But yeah, that was an awesome day. Leading out Ipswich Town, being on that pitch, taking a couple of shots in the warm-up. That was the most memorable moment.